it's Hope and welcome to the video. This is going to be my April TBR. First, I want to do a little bit of a recap on March and just kind of talk about the books that I didn't complete and what ones I am, which ones I am taking punishment roles for. So the two books that I did not finish are for the prompt lowest rated, Star Daughter by Sveta Chakar. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that name right. I did not read this. I do not have the urge to read it. I have removed it from my Goodreads. I am not reading it. And for Chance, I got Along for the Ride by Sarah Destin. This I'm not going to be reading. I kind of want to wait for the movie to come out, which comes out on April 22nd. I didn't know there was a movie until last week of this coming out on Netflix. So I might just say screw it and watch the movie, or see if people say the movie's accurate to the book, and if so, then I will just watch the movie. So I'm going to be taking 2 punishment rolls, meaning that instead of 6, we're doing 8. And I've already filmed those rolls. I have everything planned out, so let's just start off. I don't think there's anything else I have to say, except I am taking a part in Readathon, which for that, it is created by Katee from Covers with Katee. I will leave all the announcement videos for all of these readathons below, but that I'm not setting a TBR because it's more of for books you read, you either gain your team points or you can take points from the other teams. I am Team Bale, and so I'm just going to kind of as I read these books, see what books work for each. I'm also taking a part in the magical readathon, Aurelium Magical Readathon. That will be later in the video. And then I'm also taking a part in the Magical Hopathon. I should say that the Magical Readathon is created by G from Book Roast, and then the Magical Hopathon, which is a Disney-based thing, is created by Rachel Shreese. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your last name right, but that is a 2-week-long thing, and that I'm not setting a TBR. I'm kind of more or less when the time comes around, if I have any books that fit those prompts, I'm going to read them that type thing. Because I just kind of wanted to put a little bit less pressure on. So now let's just get in with the first roll. Okay, so here's the board. Firstly, I don't know where my little thing is, so we're using an eraser. So yeah, so again, we're doing 8 rolls because of not completing 2 books for my TBR last month. But let's just pray that we don't end up like March and have, 7 doubles? Because at that point, I will just end this game. So, roll number 1 is 6. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, randomize your TBR. So I got randomize your TBR, so I will insert a clip of me randomizing my TBR. Okay, so here's the number generator I have. Let's check. 441 books. So let's generate a number. 181. So we will do a little bit of scrolling, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, I'm a little bit scared, but also kind of excited. So 181 is Gilded Serpent by Danielle Jensen, but it's the 3rd book in the Dark Shores series, so I will be reading the first one, which is Dark Shores, since I can't read a 3rd without the first, so that is what I will be reading. And for this, I got Dark Shores by Danielle Jensen, and I don't know much about this except it's kind of, by the sounds of the description, kind of political fantasy, set on the sea. That's pretty much all I want to know. That's, I think, all I had to hear to add it to the list. So I'm just going to kind of go in completely blind. I am very excited to read this because it's been on my TBR since October 2020, so I think it is time that I get around to it. Roll number 2 is 7, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So Chance is I believe, equal parts of books that I want to read and books that I don't want to read. And there is, I think there's 5 of each. I think I started off with 6, but I've had 2 of them this year, so I think there's 5 of each. I have no idea. I shuffled these, so The Love That Split the World by Emily Henry. For chance, I got The Love That Split the World by Emily Henry, which I have right here. All I know is that we have this girl named Natalie who meets this boy named Beau, and things afterwards start to go a little bit different. Like, the colors of front doors in her town are different, and like, sometimes her whole town disappears for hours, fading away into the rolling hills and grazing buffaloes. And then there's this dire warning, you have 3 months to save him, and I'm assuming that him is Beau, and I don't really know anything else. This definitely is going to be that kind of like magical realism type book, and I'm excited to read it. I have been putting it off for forever because I bought this from Book Outlet for literally like $1, and I guess maybe now it's time to read it. Although I think I might have had this on my TBR at one other point and didn't read it. So I'm going to try to get to it this month. Roll number 3. Okay, we're up at 9. That's fine, that's fine, that's fine. But that is 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Start a new series. Okay. Then we rolled a double, so instead of 8, it's 9, and for this, I am going to be reading Corrupt by Penelope Douglas, which is the first book in the Devil's Night series, and this, all I know is that it's a, like, dark reverse harem bully romance. That's all I want to know. I don't want to know anything else. That is all I know about it. That is all I want to know, so moving on. Roll number 4 of 9. Roll number 4 of 10. Not gonna bitch out the goddamn thing. Okay, so that's 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. POC rep. And then we got another double, so now we're up to 10. And for this, I got POC. And for this, I'm going to be reading Tristan Strong Punches a Hole in the Sky by Kwame Mbalia. I'm probably butchering that name. I should have researched this, but I'm kind of on a time crunch for filming. But this, all I know is it is a Rick Riordan Presents book. It is middle grade. It is, like, mythology based, and essentially we follow this boy named Tristan Strong who, like, something happens and he has to go, like, stay with an aunt or something, and then ends up, like, discovering this other world of some sort, I think, where there's these mythology things, and this is the group book for the Avengers Initiative Reading Challenge, and so I'll be reading this. Roll number 5 of 10. 11, thank God. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Community Shelf is a random thing of prompts, and they're prompts that are not on the board, so a library book. I know exactly what I'm using for this. And then for number 5, which was Community Shelf, I know I miscounted and it should have been Who. I realized that after filming, but we're gonna go with that, and for that Community Shelf, I got a library book, and for that, I'm going to be reading Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. All I know about this is that we have Evangeline who loves this person, and this person is supposed to marry somebody else, and then she ends up calling upon like Jax, who's the Prince of Hearts, and that's pretty much all I know. That's all I want to know. I'm buddy reading this with a few people on Discord, and I'm very, very, very excited to read this. Roll number 6 of 10. Also, if I happen to get any of these numbers wrong, we're going with whatever I say in the video. That is 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The lowest rated on Goodreads. For lowest rated, I'm going to insert the clip. Okay, so here's my Goodreads sorted from the books that I want to read from average rating, lowest to highest. Now, obviously this book isn't out. The King Will Kill You is not out. The Alpha Sun is the next one that is out, but I have already checked, and I cannot access it through my library, and right now I cannot afford to buy books. So if I'm unable to buy a book, I'm not going to put it on my TBR. But the next one down, which is this is kind of an epic love story by Kacen Callender, I am able to get through my library. So that is the one I'm going to pick. I know it's kind of cheating, but right now I just cannot afford to buy books. So if I don't already own it, or it's not available through my library, I cannot read it unless it's like a top of the priority. I know I will love it. I know I will be willing to spend my money on it. So I'm sorry if this is kind of cheating, but we're gonna go with this is kind of an epic love story by Kacen Callender. And for that, I got this is kind of an epic love story by Kacen Callender. And this I know nothing about. I want to go in knowing nothing about it. I've heard good things, even though it's like the lowest rated book on my personal Goodreads. I've heard it's like decent. It's a queer romance, coming of age story kind of. And I really enjoyed Felix Ever After and King and the Dragonflies by Kacen Callender. So I feel like I might enjoy this since I like the two other books by this author, but you never know. Roll number 7 of 10. We got a 6, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Another chance. Can I not pick any of the goddamn books on my TBR? Okay, so you know what these already are. Out of Character by Annabeth Albert. I know a friend that will be happy that I'm reading this. And then I got another chance, which was Out of Character by Annabeth Albert. You can't see that. And this I know is we follow Jasper, who ends up having to, I don't even remember. All I know is we follow characters of, I think it's Jasper and Milo, and they used to be friends in high school, and now they're adults, and they're not, but then they end up having to do something together, and that's all I know. This is the second book in the True Color series, the first book being Conventionally Yours, but they're like standalones in the same universe, aka like Jasper was in Conventionally Yours, but was a side character. And this, I know I have a friend that is going to be very excited that I'm reading this. Clint from Reads Reader, he's going to be so excited because Annabeth Albert is one of his favorite authors. And let's pray that I read this, because I had this on my, I think it was either my October or my November TBR, and I didn't read it, but I do really want to read it. So I guess I'm going to be reading it. Roll number 8 of 10. That is 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this, as you can see here, it says red, green, blue, purple, yellow. So this basically means a color in the title. For colors in the title, at first I was like, oh my god, this is going to be so hard. But then I literally remembered I had this library hold come in 2 nights ago, and that is White Hot Kiss by Jennifer L. Armentrout. White is a color, or I guess it isn't, but like it's in the color family, so like if you want to be specific, it is a color. And this, I know nothing except it's Jennifer L. Armentrout, paranormal. I think we follow like gargoyles, or I think the main character's name is Layla. Yes, we have Layla, who's half demon, half gargoyle, and like I don't know what else. Even Goodreads isn't helping me. It's like, and so it's kind of just like a YA fantasy paranormal. I really want to read more of Jennifer L. Armentrout's work, so this fits perfectly. Roll number 9 of 10. 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is another railroad, and this says night, day, afternoon, dawn, twilight, all of that. So AKA, it also even has light and dark. So essentially like a book that has some type of day in the title, or like, for example, the word light or dark or anything like that. I can kind of like take this up to my interpretation. For Time of Day / Light and Dark, I will be reading A Torch Against the Night by Sabba Tahir. And this is like a YA fantasy. It's kind of like a martial fantasy in like a Middle Eastern setting, almost like fantasy world inspired by like Middle Eastern. We follow Laya and Elias. Elias is a mask, which is essentially kind of almost like the what is the word I'm trying to think of, like a soldier. And then we have Laya, whose brother gets taken by the mask, and she wants to try to get her brother back. And this is the second book where things are happening. I will be getting a physical copy of this from my library. I just need to go and actually pick it up. I was supposed to do that today, but I'll be doing that tomorrow. So yeah. And finally, 10 out of 10 if we don't get a double. If I get a 6, I might cry. And it's a 10. 1, 2, sorry. There, I didn't put it in screen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have landed on all but one of the railroads. Wow. So, the, of, a, and, an, aka it has to have one of those, so it could be like the something or a blank of blank and blank or something like that. And then the final roll is the, of, a, and, for this I'll be reading The Spanish Love Deception by Elana Armas. This I don't know anything about, except it's very popular on Book Talk, and it's kind of getting popularity on BookTube. This is the April pick for the Late Night Bookworming Book Club, which is a book club that I am a co-host of. I'll leave that Twitter link down below if you want to join. There'll be a live show, I think the beginning of May. I don't know whose channel or anything like that it will be on, but I'm glad that I got that in here. And again, I don't know much except it's a romance. That's kind of all I want to know, really. So now I'm going to go into my Fablen. So I also do Fablen, which was created by Margaret from The Word Nerd, and essentially it's kind of almost like a D&D type campaign. You have your species, your weapon, your magical ability, and your occupation. You do books, you read books for prompts, and all that. So I'm not really going to go into full detail. If you want to see how it exactly works, the announcement video is linked down below. So for my species, it's an elf, which the prompt is to read a fantasy, and for that I'm reading Tristan Strong Punches a Hole in the Sky by Kwame Mbalia. It's a fantasy. It counts. For my weapon, which is a sword, the prompt is to read a new release. I am counting Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber, because this came out in, was it September? It was either September or October 2021. So I'm counting it because it's within the last year, and within the last year is a new release to me. For my magical ability, I have no ability, and that prompt is to read a book over 500 pages. Corrupt by Penelope Douglas is like 520-ish, at least that's what the Kindle edition says, so I'm going with that. And then my occupation is a healer, and that means I have to do 6 prompts. So, I did these off camera, but trust me, these are the first ones that the random number generator gave me, because essentially you use a random number generator, it corresponds to a prompt, and you read something for that prompt. So for prompt number 11, read a book about a background / history that is not your own. A Torch Against the Night by Sabba Tahir, because it is based on Middle Eastern culture and a little bit of the history, I think. So that is what I'm going to be counting for that. For quest number 2, which I got 8, and that corresponds with read a book that takes place in winter, I'm going to be reading Barbarian Lover by Ruby Dixon. This is the 3rd book in the Ice Planet Barbarian series. Alien romance, I'm not really going to describe much more. It takes place on an icy planet, so I'm counting it mainly because I couldn't think of anything else, and I do honestly kind of want to continue the series because the books are so stupid that they're enjoyable. Quest number 3, roll a d6 and read a book that matches that species requirement. So, I rolled a 1, which corresponds with contemporary on the Fablen document. Again, it will be linked in I'll have the Fablen video link where you can find the whole thing about all this. And that I'm going to be reading The Spanish Love Deception by Elana Armas because it is a contemporary romance. Contemporary, boom. So don't mind me, I'm just popping in for quest number 4, which I got 33, a book with strong family relationships. I originally had a different book when I filmed this, but then I realized I'll probably be finishing that book either on the 31st of March or the 1st of April, therefore I can't include it in my April TBR, so I'm going to be replacing that with City of Fallen Angels by Cassandra Clare. I feel like all of these books in the series have a theme of like family, whether it be found family or otherwise, so I'm kind of going to argue that this does fit strong family relationships. If you don't think that, we can fight about it, but I'm just kind of bending the prompt, I guess, a little bit with just family relationships, but this is my pick for that. Quest 6, a book with Julie on the cover. I'm going to be reading The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas. If you look very closely, the person on the cover, Selena, is wearing like an amulet on her neck. So that is jewelry, and this is the novella, bind up of the novellas from the Throne of Glass series. They're all prequel novellas to the first book, Throne of Glass. And yeah, I'm not really going to explain that. I'm just reading this. I'm buddy reading this with a few people over on Instagram. Actually, some of the people that I'm also buddy reading Corrupt with. And then for Quest 6, I got number 35, which is Read a Book Set at Sea, Dark Shore by Danielle Jensen. Fits perfectly for this because it literally takes place on the sea. So for Aurelium, Magical Readathon, the career that I picked is a Moon Warden, and so for that I have to read 5 books. So I will briefly go through them and all that. So for Elemental Studies, a book under 100 pages, I'll be reading Stoneheart by Katie Robert, and this is a prequel novella type thing to the Dark Olympus series, and I honestly don't even remember who it's about, what it's about. All I know is it's 60 some pages. It is very quick. It was it's a free thing that if you sign up for her newsletter, there's a link, I think. And I really liked Neon Gods and Electric Idol, which are book 1 and 2 in the series. So, of course, I'm going to read it, and this fits perfectly. At first, I was so stumped on what I was going to read, and then this popped in my head, and I was like, yes, that works perfectly. For Astronomy, top of your TBR list, I am going to go with Once Upon a Broken Heart, because as soon as I finished the Caraval series, I immediately wanted to dive into this, and this is honestly a top of the priority, as I'm I want to start it a week ago when I got my hold-in from the library. Art of Illusion, book with a trope you like. I am a sucker for the bully romance, so I'm going with Corrupt by Penelope Douglas because it has that trope, and I'm a sucker for that trope. I don't know why, I just always love them. Restoration, book featuring healers. I'm going to be picking Barbarian Lover by Ruby Dixon because there is a common theme of healers, of there being some aliens that are healers, and then also I downloaded the ebook, I searched the word healers, and healers are mentioned 21 times in a 191 page novel. Tell me they're not going to be a part of it, because there's always a thing of or at least in the previous 2, there's been a trope of the main female character needs to go see a healer for a certain reason. So I have a feeling that that's going to be carried on into this. And then spells and incantation, short stories or essays. I'm going to be using The Assassin's Blade since it is a series of novellas. I think there's 5 novellas in it. So they are short stories. They're not short stories or essays, but they're novellas, which are a type of short story. So I'm kind of stretching that, but also I needed to read this and I had no idea what else to read. So this is what I picked. that is all the books that I'm calling on my TBR. I have multiple other books that I would like to get to in the month. Like, I can think of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 6 other books, I think, 7 maybe, other books that I need to read in April, mainly for like buddy reads or read-alongs and all that, but I'm not going to include them in here because I would then feel like I'm overwhelming myself. Also, so I really hope you enjoyed this video. I apologize for it probably being super long. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I have to say, and I don't think so. So let me know what your TBR is in the description below, or let me know what books you are interested in from this list or have heard of, or just anything bookish in the comments below. But I really hope you enjoyed this video, and bye!